All right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining. Hopefully, y'all like the new intro. I'm starting to get the little things worked out with it, but but thank you for joining. For those who are new to this program, my name is Eric Velasquez, and I forgot to do this. Um, my name is Eric Velasquez, and I am interviewing the candidates for the City of San Antonio 2021 elections that are upcoming really quick next month, April. It our start. I can't even talk. The next month is starting the early voting, which is April 19th, ends at April 27th, and election day is May 1st. So I do believe the voter registration to register to vote is April 1st. So today's the last day. You haven't registered to vote. Today's the last day. Please make sure you go and do that if you're not registered to vote, or also go check your registration as well. Um, Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our next guest. What's going on, Lauro? How are
Hello.
you?
Could you put up your volume a little bit?
Yeah. Sorry. Let me see here. Let me up this, and then yeah. So anybody in the comments, please give a thumbs up if the audio is okay. That would help as well. Does that help, Lauro?
No, I can barely hear you.
No. Okay. Sorry about that. Hold on. Let's see here. Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but still the volume's kind of low.
Okay. Okay. What about that?
No, still low, but I can make you out. You're just low.
Okay. All right. So if y'all in the comments as well, please give us a thumbs up. I do have one like that says audio is okay. In the comments, can you just type in everything's okay with audio? Um, I'll try to talk as loud as I can. I don't want to talk too loud. But anyway, so go ahead and introduce yourself, Laura. Oh, it's breaking up. It's breaking up a little bit. Hello, Laura.
Hello.
Hello. There we go.
Yes, I
Okay.
can hear
Sorry.
you.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything that you said. You came out really messed up. Can you repeat it again?
Okay, my name's Lauro Bustamante. I'm running for District 1 City Council. I have 37 years legal experience. I've been practicing law for 37 years. I'm have a doctorate degree in jurisprudence. I'm licensed by the Supreme Court. Um, in the past, I've been elected to office to the Edwards Aquifer 2010 to 2014. I served really District 1, San Antonio, on the aquifer, and it's very valuable experience. Got to learned a lot about the legislative process and how to get things done up in Austin. What I bring to the table is my legal experience. I think that the municipal system is far behind in in community advances. I think the municipal courts need to be overhauled. I think we need a public defender in those courts. I think too many people are just really being taken advantage of, and and are not aware of the consequences of the municipal court system. So I would propose a public defender in that area. Renewable energy is a big area also. I propose that we start District 1 as becoming energy independent. If we put one solar panel on each house, that would be more than enough to light up district, the whole district. So I propose that we start moving towards independent energy, getting our homes off the grid and becoming independent. The sun power is free. All we need to do is install the panels and uh, the converters and the batteries.
No.
I think that's the way to go, especially after our last freeze where we lost the power and the consequences were devastating. I think independent energy off the grid is the answer. The sun is free, the wind is free, so we need to take advantage of that.
So who?
Education is a big area also. I think we need free education, especially in the skills area. If we can provide incentives, free education, and the tools, the internet, free computers, free access to computers and internet for training, we can provide the workplace uh, with the labor that they need. Uh, I was just reading the other day that Musk Tesla is asking engineers and workers to come in from out of state because there's not enough here to provide them with the labor they need. So I think free education and free skills education is a good area.
Laurel, real
Health
quick.
is a big issue also.
Laurel, real
We need
quick.
to clean up the air.
Laurel, real
Yes.
quick. For the solar panels, so who would be paying for the solar panels, and who would maintain the solar panels?
Okay. We have CPS. We have mass labor force in CPS. They can be in charge, or they can be retrained. So there's no job loss here. There's just a job change. Instead of going to grid powered and coal, we go to becoming independent energy providers. So CPS would be a starting point. We would use that labor force to install and maintain the systems. Uh, the systems, the systems have become so simple now. It's like buying a refrigerator, like buying a toaster. It's just, they're very simple processes. Once they're set up, they just generate energy. I mean, there's the possibilities around us. They're even coming up with automobiles they're powerful enough to uh, to energize a home. In other words, you go in, you plug in your car, you've got energy for your home. So the technology is there. I mean, we just have to cut through the bureaucracy, cut the greed, and just fast track this technology to catch up with the rest of the world. I mean, the rest of the world is doing this. I mean, that's how I get my information. So we have labor first. The homeowner can make homeowner has to plug it in, turn it off. The Wi-Fi can regulate it. I mean, it's just look at the market. The technology is there.
Laura, real quick. You're breaking up really bad. I don't know if Facebook, if you guys can let me know if you hear the same thing, or is it just me? I don't want to not be able to hear what you're saying. You're cutting out really bad, but Facebook, if you can just let me know if you can hear the same thing that I'm hearing, that it's coming out, or is it just me? If it's just me, that's fine. I just want to make sure that. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
I hear you okay, but your volume is real low, so
yeah.
I can barely hear you.
Yeah, they're saying that your audio is kind of choppy. They can hear everything else fine. So I don't know if maybe are you on Wi-Fi or anything, or
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
okay. Um I don't know. Maybe if you want to try it, take it off, just because it's definitely coming out, and I don't want your message to come out, not come out. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So, uh,
let me try and change the Wi-Fi here.
okay. Thank you guys for your patience. Also, just for everybody watching, you can also come in and ask a question directly. Oh, he jumped out. You can also jump in and actually ask a question directly to the candidate as well. So please do. This is pretty much like an open forum. So if you would like to come in and ask a question, please take this opportunity to ask a question to the candidate, because that's kind of important, to be able to talk and have that conversation. So just bear with us while he comes back. So so yeah, so how was that intro? Was that intro okay? It was our first time using it. Tell me what you guys think of it. Trying to make it a little bit fun. So okay, here we go. All right,
Yeah.
hello.
All right. Audio's fine now.
Okay, cool. Okay. So where were we? Oh, you're talking about um with CPS and them taking over, but how do we gain the trust back into CPS after this whole issue with the snow issue?
Well, education is the key. Okay, we have to uh, go out to the community, regain the trust. We have to show them the benefits of solar power. Give them the incentive, and that is the economic incentive, and that is that they're with solar power, with panels on their homes, and CPS changing over to sustainable energy or renewable energy. Uh, we can regain the trust if we can show them that their bills are going to come down and they're going to have dependable energy. Uh, and they can survive off the grid, and the grid or CPS plants can be a backup. But we have enough resources and we have enough energy, solar energy, to do this. So it's a matter of education. We have to educate the public on the benefits of solar. And again, we have to be careful because the market is so competitive and there's so much greed and corruption out there. We have to weed out the bad vendors and keep the good ones. So um, you know, there's a lot of work to be done there, but it can be done. And the sooner we get to it, the sooner we'll be in a better economic position and a better energy position.
Mm.
So we have to work. We have to work. We have to look at this in terms of what's the best for the public, for the individual, for the homeowner. What's the best for them? Not what's best for the corporation, not what's best for CPS or the individual vendors. What's best for the individual homeowner? Start from there, and that's the mission, that's the policy. Not how much money we can make, how much money it's going to take, but what is beneficial for the homeowner.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we've been seeing recently a lot, and it's been just coming out, but a lot of these businesses or developer um, houses or apartment complexes and things like that, they're getting all these tax subsidies, right? So they're not having to pay taxes, property taxes are very minimal, and then that gets shouldered into the taxpayer, the regular people, the homeowner.
Right.
So what would you like to see done regarding that issue?
Well, the problem with property tax is this: is that Texas does not have an income tax. So instead of having an income tax, a state individual income tax, what they do is they just tack it onto the property value. So they increase the property values to increase the property taxes, and that's our state income. That is obviously a violation of due process and unconstitutional. So that needs to be challenged, and I think the public needs to be aware of that, and they need to rise up and challenge and start getting some changes up in the legislature. That's the problem with property taxes. The other problem is this: is that property taxes can be challenged. You know, that's where I come in with the public defender. We set up our offices as legal aid branches to help people with their disputes. If your property taxes are so high that you can't afford to live there, that you're going to have to sell it or you have to move, that's ridiculous. That's where the public defender comes in. We come in, we can take the case, and again, this is for District 1. This is for District 1, the district that I'm in. It's not the whole city or the whole county or the whole state. It's just District 1. So an office can handle the volume there. So we take these cases to the property tax office. We appeal them. We go to mediation. And then we can appeal them up to district court, and we can show the inequities, and we can show case law to help us. Now, this is what the corporations do. Okay, this is what the big corporations do. They challenge them, they go on up, and then they settle them, or they pay a reduced rate. And even before they get that, they pay a reduced rate because they know that they're going to get into some litigation. So we can provide this for the individual homeowner through the legal aid offices and public defender's office that I intend to establish. I think it's a tremendous need there for it, and the sooner we get to it, the better the relief is going to be for people. Some people can afford the property taxes, but most people can't. You can look at the south side, tremendous hardship there on the south side with people that can't afford the property taxes, forced to, give up food, give up, medicine in order to pay the taxes, or just lose their homes, to a tax foreclosure. So, a legal aid office is desperately needed. A public defender in the property tax area is desperately needed to take advantage of the system, just like the corporations, are get taking advantage of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's we're seeing too much of it. It seems like right now that we're just seeing a lot of these tax subsidies and things like that. So,
Yeah.
I think people are starting to see it, but don't know what to do. I definitely want to
Yeah.
know, you know,
Well,
why
they
we're
need to
doing that.
get in. They need
Yeah,
to get in on those tax subsidies. They need tax subsidies. They need incentives. They need to cut their tax bills, and that's we should supply that just like they're giving it to the corporations. They need to give it to the individual homeowner. If the corporations can have it, the individual homeowner can do it too. But it's going to take legal action.
yeah. Um, all right. So, Ronald says, "What about Delview?" And also Shannon says, "What is your plan regarding the homeless issue in D1, specifically Delview?" I know Delview has been kind of a spotlight recently with the current councilman. So, what's your yeah? What is your plan with the homeless situation, the houseless situation of these people?
I live in Delview. I live
Okay.
in the Delview neighborhood. So I know firsthand what the problems we have here. We have about a good 60-70% Hispanics in Delview. We have a tremendous business, market here. I can drive, 2 minutes anywhere from my home, and I've and I've got what I need. They've got so much economy going here. Uh, we have the housing. Uh, my proposal for the homeless is this: some communities and other cities have done this. They've bought up property, um, old hotels, motels, old apartment complexes. They've used the city staff to renovate these places, and then they can supply them to the homeless. At the same time, they supply training, education, skills training to make them productive. Again, the city has an abundance of resources. They can switch over and retrain to do this. Um, Churches need to be brought in. Churches are excellent providers of food and clothing for the indigent and for the homeless. So working the city can provide the infrastructure, the shelter. It can be temporary shelter, it can be long-term shelter until these people can be retrained and put back into society as productive workers. I mean, this is doable, and it has to be done, and it will be done because necessity is the mother of invention. It's a necessary project we need to do. Los Angeles, I was up in Los Angeles, and they've got tents all around City Hall. I mean, that's how bad it is up there. And what they're doing is they're getting these hotels, these old hotels that have a high uh, vacancy rate to house the homeless and provide shelter. So they're doing it. We can do it. This can be done on an emergency basis. We can fast track this, and it's the bottom line is we're helping people. We're not making money. We're helping people, and the money's there. We're just shifting it from one from one source to another source. And again, I'm talking about District 1. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about the whole city or the county or the state. It's just District 1. On a small
So
scale basis, District 1, it can be done.
so how do we avoid another Haven for Hope? Not to say that Haven Hope is incredibly bad. I'm just saying, how do we avoid that situation again if we're gonna do like a hotel or something like that?
Mm.
Because it's not working like it should be, right? Everybody that I've talked to definitely thinks that it's not working. So how do we avoid that again?
Well, Haven for Hope is overcrowded. And the reason it's overcrowded is because there's no other resources, there's no other sources. So we need to expand the resources. I mean, we need to put you know, we need to put a haven for hope in other areas. I mean, Haven for Hope was just a start, or it's just a prototype. We need to expand that situation and expand it to other areas. If you look at the area there, it's on railroad tracks. There's some warehouses, chemical warehouses around there. The jail is right next to it. I mean, it's one of the last resorts, I guess, to put the hay room. It's a great project. It's a great project. It helps a lot of people, and it's kind of a central area, but it's become overcrowded because everybody's going there. So we have to expand those. We can eliminate the overcrowding there if we just open up some other properties in the area and fix them up. I mean, just like I was saying.
Right, but the issue is that the people that live in the area don't want that in their neighborhood. So
You know,
how do we address that? You know what I mean? Because
well, we give them incentives. We give them incentives to accept it. We cut their taxes. We provide you know uh, uh, other incentives. We provide. There's we go in and ask them, look, what do we have to do today to get your support to help these homeless people? And they'll say, well, my backyard needs cleaning up, the alley needs to be maintained, my trash pickup's not been okay. Look, we'll fix that. Okay, we can fix
so
that. We from the,
so basic city services is
yeah,
that's what it's
it's all it's we give them what we have to offer. I mean, we give them what we have to offer. I mean, we can lower their property taxes. We can put solar panels. I mean, we'll put solar panels on. There's different incentives that we can provide people, so they accept this. I mean, it's just. I mean, we tell them, it's either that, or you're going to have high crime in your neighborhood. I mean, you want to reduce your crime rate. Let us build this project here. We again, we're doing this on a community basis. So we've got actually smaller groups to work with, and it's education. And you give somebody enough incentive, they'll help. I mean, they'll help you.
yeah.
The bottom line is that our goal and our mission is to help people. We have to love our neighbors, so that's everybody has to agree with that, and that's where we start.
Hmm. Um so what would be that first item of business you would like to accomplish if you do get elected into office?
Well, I'd like to establish a legal aid office. I would establish my offices, my staff as legal aid providers to the community. If you have a problem with your property taxes, you have a problem with your municipal courts, we're there to help. Also,
Okay.
once we establish that, then we get into public defenders, for our district,
Okay.
help in that
Gotcha.
area.
And what would you like to, or what do you think you could improve on from the current elected official? Maybe something, not anything in a negative way, but something that you see has been done, and maybe you feel like maybe you could improve on, and you would like to continue on, or make something better from that situation.
Well, what I've seen, and again, I've traveled around a lot, done a lot of research on the internet, is the basic belief. the basic policy needs to be that we need to be advocates for the people, advocates for their well-being. Okay, and the problem we're having is in the system is the bureaucracy and the greed. We have, we have corporations and we have, special interests or, coming in and buying, buying favors, and they lose sight, they're losing sight of the individual, you know, let's take an example, CPS. Well, CPS is a big organization. It's a corporation. It's linked to the city, and it makes it makes money. It makes profit. It pays high salaries. Now, instead of looking at the making of money and making of high salaries, we should look at expanding uh, solar panels, and helping the individual homeowner. And by helping the individual homeowner, we're helping the big corporations because there's going to be excess energy uh, or pour over energy from these solar panels that can be provided to the corporation. So it can benefit everybody, but we have to take the bureaucracy and we have to take the greed factors out and focus more on the individual homeowner. And I think that's the problem is we've gone away, the office holders have gone away from the individual and have gone to the big corporations and the big companies and losing sight of of the children and the individuals, and the basics, they're losing like all because of the money. The money's sometimes the root of all evils, and the
Right.
bureaucracy is tremendous, So,
Right. And that's one of the things is the city has kind of lost its just doing its core business, right? Like just
exactly.
basic necessities, fixing the
Mhm.
streets and clearing out trash and things like that. So I
Yeah.
mean, we're not
Uh,
even
let me
doing that.
let me let me give you a good example. Tesla, Elon Musk. His mission and his policy was to have independent energy, sustainable energy, free energy. That was his mission. He didn't care about making billions of dollars. He didn't care about uh, getting to the ground. That's what he wanted. So he started independently, and he financed his own companies, got into Tesla Autos, and then once he became so successful independently, looking out for the individual, and he didn't care about the competition. He said, bring on the competition. If you have a better product that can help the individual, I'm for you 100%. He open sourced his computer system, his findings, everything to the public, so they could take advantage of it, so they could benefit the individual. He didn't care about the competition. He wanted the the planet to become energy efficient. So
Right.
that's the idea we have to start with. And
Yeah,
now look at him. Now he's a tremendous success, but he's still looking out for the individual.
yeah, and that's the one of the questions too is, do we need another energy system company here, to kind of give some type of competition to CPS or vice versa? I mean, I know somebody had mentioned that it didn't work out for one company here in Texas, but I mean, there's also that possibility of having some type of competition so we don't have a monopoly of just one
Uh,
single corporation that's running the entire electricity or entire water system. But I don't
yeah.
know. So Shannon says we have high crime either way. The unsheltered residents left behind from Trevino's homeless initiative are the criminal element that won't accept help. It's the same people that have been here for years. And so, what about the people left behind that don't want to accept help?
Okay. Well, I mean, the bigger issue here is the criminal system. Uh, we, you know, we can address that issue, but we have to free up the clog in the criminal system. What's happening in the criminal system is there is a criminalization of victimless crimes. I mean, people are getting arrested for for jaywalking. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, for, and people are getting arrested for resisting arrest. And people are getting arrested for tickets
For
10 years
taking,
ago.
they're getting arrested for taking pictures on a public
Yeah, getting
sidewalk.
arrested for things. I mean, that is a total waste of our resources.
Mm,
Jesus,
yeah.
we need to stop that immediately, and unclog the legal system with these ridiculous arrests, and that'll free us up to get into the more serious cases. The more serious case where someone is doing property damage, someone is hurting somebody, and they're a danger to the community. Those are the major cases. Those cases, but they're over there arresting people that are taking pictures, jaywalkers, and have parking tickets. And what for? Just so they can go in and go up to the teller window and pay the money like a bank and then get out of it. And that's just totally a violation of due process and constitutional rights. One of the
Mm,
most ridiculous things I've seen in municipal court is someone gets arrested, they get charged with a ticket, they get charged with domestic violence because they were arguing with their spouse, and then they get charged in county court. So they're looking at the same charge in county court and municipal court. That is totally ridiculous and a waste of resources. And then to add insult to injury, the case is groundless and it gets dismissed some 3 or 4 months later. But these people need a public defender. That's the situation. If they don't have a public defender, they're just going to, step up to the window and pay it. So I know the system, I know what's wrong with it, and I know how to fix it. And again, District 1 on a small basis of District 1, we can start that.
mhm.
So I
Gotcha.
mean, it's the criminal system. We got to, the homeless people. If they're dangerous, then they should be locked up. But they're not locking up because they don't have any money, right? So homeless people don't have any money, so they can't pay the fines, they can't pay the bondsman. So that it's just greed. The city is just greedy. They want the money.
Right.
They passed an ordinance one time. They said, look, if you're homeless and you're on the street, we're going to fine you $500. you know, that is totally absurd. Where did that come from? I mean, that's where you get people that are just way out in left field. So
Yeah. So what do you say to the people that are saying, well, why will we need another attorney or developer or real estate agent running for office? Because,
mm,
a lot of people associate people in those positions as they're just trying to get,
yeah,
uh, ahead for some reason. So what do you say to that?
yeah. Well, I'm 70 years old. I've gotten ahead as much as I have everything I need. I don't need anything. I'm very independent. I don't need to be. I've been rich. I don't need to be rich again. So it's not. I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and unhappy. So I've been rich and unhappy. Now I'm poor and I'm very, very happy. I live within my means. I find I'm frugal. I find ways. I look for ways. And that's the way we need to be. We need to be independent. Okay, so I don't need to get rich. I need to help people. I've got children. I have 5 children. I need to help their future. I have 3 grandchildren. I need to help their future. That's what I'm here for. By helping them, I can help the community. The help is there. The answers are there. We just need to get it on. Get on it. And then,
Yeah.
so why do you need a lawyer? Well, let's look at lawyers. And it doesn't have to be a lawyer. Just you know, the laws, the laws are made in Austin. They affect everybody. The Constitution is based on laws. The legal system is a tremendous system that protects people's rights and human rights and civil rights, and they prevent injustice. Okay, we have to have laws. We have to have law and order. So lawyers are trained in laws. Lawyers are fighters. You hear about some bad lawyers. Sure, there's bad lawyers and there's other very good lawyers. Okay, there's good doctors and there's bad doctors. There's good real estate people and there's bad real estate. So we just I know I know a good lawyer when I see it, and I can. And there's a lot of them out there. They're in the legal aid offices. They're coming out of law school. They go in with the ideas of helping the people, and they come out with the same ideas. So there's good people out there. Why lawyers? Because lawyers can use the legal system to get things done. They can use injunctions. They can go to the judge and get an injunction, and that can be enforced by the sheriff and the police. So that's where the action comes from the laws. You know, we have a law that prohibits marijuana. Okay, so what are you going to do? You got to change the law. How do you change the law? Well, you have to get a lawyer to change the law, to change the policies. We have to write up the policies to change those laws. So yes, you need a lawyer. There was a time where maybe one of these days we're not going to need lawyers. It ain't going to happen. As long as you have injustice, cruelty, a violation of human rights, you're going to need lawyers in that.
Hmm. Gotcha. Daniel says some people feel that you might be an illegitimate candidate because you run every election, you don't have a Facebook website, and you don't answer email. Do you have any response to that?
Yeah, I answer emails. I answer emails and I answer phone calls. I'm not on Facebook. There's too much. It's just overbearing and overloading. But I do answer emails and I do answer my phone calls. That's basic. I am independent. Yes, I run for office because I care. Because I want to be out there. I want to do something. I want to make a difference. And I'm doing it now in my practice. I do it on a case by case basis. I help a lot of people, and I want to do that for District 1. I run because it keeps me sharp. Okay, it keeps me in touch. When you run for office, you're in touch with the issues. You're in touch with the inner workings, with the inner cores, and that's what I need to do. Is I need to be in touch with what's going on. Voters, they're just looking at the candidates. Candidates are looking at other candidates. They're looking at the officials. They're looking at the whole system. That's why I've been a candidate in the past, and I've been involved in campaigns as a candidate and also as a campaign manager. So the thing is to get involved and know what's going on the inside, know the inside track. And
Yeah.
as a lawyer, that's one of the greatest things about being a lawyer is that I'm a lawyer, I'm a public official, and I can go anywhere, ask for any information, and and they have to respect that because I'm a lawyer. I have a lot of doors opened up for me because of my license.
No, I mean, to be honest, though, I mean, to be fair, I mean, you don't really need to run for office to be connected with the community and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you could still do community service and things like that, and that's something that a lot of people do see from a lot of candidates is they just see them come around election season and don't see them, outside election season. So I mean, what can you say to that? Are you someone who does community service outside of election season, or is it just?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My practice is a good, 75, 90% pro bono. So, I take phone calls. I help a lot of people. I'm involved with a lot of pastors and churches, and uh, I help them with their legal problems. I help their members with their legal problems. So I do a lot of community service. I'm busy. I'm busy all day long, and helping people with their with what I have to offer, and that is my legal expertise. So I answer a lot of phone calls. I help. I do a lot of community service. I really do. I just don't publicize it. I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too is I mean, a lot of people associate community service with going doing out and distributing food or whatever it is, but sometimes it could be something like this. Like this I consider my community service back to the community as far as, having people talk to candidates and education on things like this. So and you're saying you're pro bono, so we all have different types of ways to give back. So it definitely I agree with what you're saying is use whatever God's given you to get back to the
Mhm.
community.
Mhm.
Shannon and Daniel, hopefully that answered your questions. Again, if you would like to ask a question, please do so in the comments. So with I know we had talked about the criminal justice system. So with everything going on with the police department right now, what's your take on everything, and what do you think we can do to move forward, and make a valuable change to how everything's going with the police system?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, my screen went crazy here.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, can you still hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, well, you're
I
asking me
can't
about.
connect to the Wi-Fi network. You
Oops.
might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home app.
Oh.
Okay, so you're asking me about the police situation?
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, I've looked at that, and it seems that the problem or the bottom line here is accountability. And you know, this we've seen this in national TV and here locally is the accountability. It appears that some policemen, I mean, there's some very good policemen, and some of them are very good friends of mine, but you you know, I've run into some bad policemen. You know, I've been stopped, you know, and I've been held at gunpoint, you know, and I've been, you know, detained, and uh, you know, so I know some. I've had experience with bad policemen. So and the problem here is accountability. Okay, accountability. The It appears that there's some type of an agreement that says that policemen are not subject to prosecution. They have some immunity. So that again is a violation of due process and violation of constitutional rights. No one is above the law, and although we see a lot of people that do, you know, get away with things, and they're above the law, but the underlying philosophy is no one is above the law, and that includes policemen, public officials. Uh, they should not be immune from civil rights violations, from human rights violations, and just crimes. I mean, they should not be immune from crimes. So I think that's the bottom line: is that we need to take those clauses, whatever clauses they've got in those contracts, collective bargaining contracts, union contracts, whatever contracts or agreements, informal, formal. We need to take out the parts that say you're immune from prosecution. You can commit a crime and you will not be prosecuted. No one it should be allowed to do that, including policemen.
Well,
So
and you know
we need to
what's
tweak.
weird. You know what's weird is, we heard the qualified immunity with the police, right? And then we also heard
Yeah,
qualified immunity with ERCOT. And I'm trying to figure out who else has qualified immunity in our
yeah.
in our state.
Uh,
You know what I mean?
well, yeah. Well, it boils down to the individual. I mean, when a policeman stops you, he's a judge, jury, and executor. You know, so that's, you know, we need to. And when you give them that much power, you know, they take advantage of it. So when that happens, they need to be accountable. They can't be immune from that. They need to be accountable. If you commit a crime, you do the time. I mean, you know, it's just, if it's a crime for me, it should be a crime for the policeman, you know, so or public official, you know. So it's just, you know, you've got to have accountability. You've got to have you know, you got to expose these people. You have account. You got to clean it up. If you don't clean it up, it gets worse. It festers. It grows, and then we're back in the 40s and 50s with you know, large scale corruption. You know, so and
Right.
it's always been a problem, but accountability is the key. You know, we've got cameras now. We've got cell phones. I mean, but these things we see, you know, they're getting away with it because they have this immunity. So we need to
Mhm.
take that immunity away from them and put the fear of God in them, and, you know, educate them so they're more careful, more social, more professional, and more caring for the people. You know, so
Yeah.
and and take out the bad apples. You know, there's some bad apples that can't be cured. So we need to take out the bad apples. You know?
Yeah, and I know like the military has their, you know, strict stuff, but I know there are some people that do some bad things, especially overseas. So I mean, that
Yeah,
shouldn't be happening. um,
yeah. There's some military people in the police department that, I mean, they're great soldiers and we love them and we thank them for their service. But they come back with that war mentality here, and I mean, they just discriminate the hell out of people. And
right?
anybody
Yeah,
looks like a Muslim. Anybody looks like a Muslim, they're not in good shape with those people. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah, we need to weed those people out.
Yeah. Um, so with let's see here. I'm gonna change the topics a little bit. And again, anybody has a question, please ask a question. Please do so. Uh, what are your top three favorite small business restaurants in District One?
In District 1, well, there's a place called Lucy's over here on West Avenue. Boy, they have some really good Mexican food. Oh, the Mexican plate is to die for, man. Called Lucy's on West Avenue. and then up the street is uh, it's a fish place called uh, La Playa. I think it's called like La Playa.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and they have some really good fish there. I don't know what kind of fish it is, but the way they make it is great. Uh, and Mitieres has always been my favorite. I love Mitieres. I love to go in there and see the lights. It's Christmas all the time in Mitieres. and the
Right.
food is good. The Tex-Mex is just Tex-Mex food. It's a 5-star restaurant. It's a little pricey, but sometimes I treat myself. And it's a nice place. I love it.
Right. Um, so what uh what are your plans to reduce spending or being more efficient with the city budget? I know we have a lot of, you know, things that are being tossed around for the city budget. So what are some things you would like to do to maybe be a little bit more efficient with the budget for your district?
Yeah. Well, this, you've got to get tough. I mean, why? You have, people can live within their means. I mean, what are you going to do with a 5 million? You make $5 million a year. I mean, what are you going to do with 5 million? What do you need $5 million to live? I mean, you can live on 100,000 a year. I mean, why do you need 5 million? So we need to look at some of these salaries. I mean, they're way, way, way too high. I mean, and so that's one area we can probably, instead of, that money can go elsewhere. Um,
Salaries from where?
well, salary from high paying officials or high paying board members or high paying chairmen, that just the salaries are just, and then they get bonuses on top of that. So I
You
don't know.
mean like
It's
that are like that are held by the city, or you just mean private organizations, private
Well, no,
companies?
these are city linked, organizations, that that are paid, paid by the city or subsidized by the city. So we need to look at putting, maybe some salary caps, like that. And then the quality of people that we attract also. We're offering, a lot of money to attract, some people that. But I mean, we need to work other things out, other incentives, that are more cost effective, so that we can streamline that. And the waste. I mean, we need to, cut down a lot of waste and cut down on things that we don't need, and or increase the things that we do need. So yeah, but the bottom line is that if we put caps on things, and we tell people, let's take an example like this dome tax that we had. I think it was a 0.8% or 0.5% or some point something tax increase in order to build a dome, and then supposedly when the dome was built, it was supposed to go away. Well, the dome was built and it didn't go away. Okay, it kept going up. Other areas, like agencies, they come in and say, well, we need more money and we need to increase our budget. And say, well, this increase in fees or addition to fees or increase in in your budget is taxation without representation. I mean, if you're going to increase, we need the people to vote on it. Do they want an increase in their water bill? Do they want an increase in the utility bill? Do they, the sewer systems are dilapidated, so we need an increase. Well, the people should decide that, and not be forced to pay an increased bill or surcharge or something like that. It's just taxation without representation, so that needs to stop.
Yeah,
Instead of cost going up, the policy should be cost should be coming down. I mean, we need to live within our means, and just do with what we need and not the extras. We don't need the luxuries. We just need the necessities and
gotcha.
efficient necessities.
Yeah.
Like electric cars. A lot more efficient, and they'll be cost effective. So as
Mhm.
opposed to money draining, gas guzzling cars.
Mm.
So another pet peeve.
What are some of the things that you think that are not being utilized by the cities to its like that might have potential, like a city-owned building or whatever it is? So anything that you can see that's not it's not being
Yeah.
used to its full potential.
Yeah, human resources. I mean, we need jobs. Okay? We need to keep people busy. We need jobs. The city needs to establish some type of a workforce, that can be paid, a livable wage or something that they can live on, and be productive and work. We need to develop our workforce. We have too many people that aren't employed, too many people that are too many adults out there that aren't working, that want to work. We need to keep them busy, either part-time labor or long-time labor, something. But we need to take that resource and put it to good use. I mean, we can clean
So
up our neighborhoods. Go ahead.
so do you think, I mean, the recently passed thing for SA Works, the work, I forget what it's called, the thing that we voted for in November, or voted against, as far as the creating the new job workforce, that that the mayor had put out, like
See,
you mean something similar to that?
I don't know what are the details on that. But
It's basically you're so like they're working with Project Quest and things like that, to where they are training people to be in these different types of job fields like IT, or
yeah,
in nursing or truck driver,
yeah,
um, and they're basically paying for them to learn these
yeah,
trades, and then they get a job.
right.
So are you saying like that, or
Yeah, yeah. I
okay?
would be that. I would be an advocate for that. But we need to put it in the high school. I think put it in the high schools, and offer free training and college credit to high school students. I think there's a there's a big waste in our youth because they're stuck in high school. Well, they need to be. I mean, they need to be given incentives to train during school and after school, on weekends and summer holidays, to train for jobs. And again, focus on the individual. What is he like? What does he want to do? Get him in that area. Work on an individual basis. I mean, we did it. I mean, we're working on an individual basis with this vaccine. Why can't we do that with education?
Mhm.
With the workforce? We can do it. We just have to do it on an emergency basis, like this vaccine. You know.
Yeah. Well, and I was reading an article too, is that a lot of these restaurants and bars and things, they don't have any people to hire, even though they want to hire people, but they can't find anybody, or even the hotels downtown. Nobody's jumping onto that. Um, there's jobs available, but
Mm.
I don't know if this new initiative that was passed in November is taking some of those jobs, or people relying on unemployment. I don't know. but there's jobs that are here still that from our previous workforce, like bartending or restaurant at the restaurants or hotels, but nobody's going to those jobs. So, what's something that you would like to do to kind of help jumpstart that back up again? Because the jobs are there, but nobody's going to them.
Yeah. Well, you've got to give them incentives. I mean, they say, look, you've got to work out some incentives for them to want to work, to get to work. I mean, they've got to do it again, it's on an individual basis, on an educational basis. So we got to, they may need a social worker to work with them. They may need a mental health worker to work with them. The jobs are there, the labor force is there. They can get people to work there. I mean, they might be from El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, or South America somewhere, but there's people there that will work. Okay, so so I mean, it's just I mean, I mean, there's people there that'll do the work. If they want to hire somebody, they can hire somebody. I don't know. I don't know why they're saying they don't have people to come work. There's a lot of people. Haven for Hope has a lot of people who want to go to work. There's so it's just.
Well, yeah. I mean,
if the individual doesn't want to work, he's got a social or mental problem that needs to be addressed.
Right. And that was one of the things too, is that when I was running for office last year, my whole thing was, I think we need to kind of like what you were saying, is give incentives to businesses to be willing to hire either people that have been in prison, obviously, especially for nonviolent crimes, right? To be able to give those people a chance to get back on their feet instead of just throwing them out into the street. That's one of the things that really needs to be worked on. Daniel says, how do you feel about the Linear Creekway Aquifer Protection sales tax being put to VIA?
Yeah, that's another bureaucratic nightmare there. Again, taxation without representation. I mean, it's a bad. Anytime you have an increase in fees or an increase in your bills, it's a bureaucratic nightmare and really, another way of taxing you without you having to say so. So I mean, it comes back and bites them. I mean, this pandemic has really exposed a lot of that. It's just, and it's probably going to get worse right now before it gets better. But we're being forced. I mean, we're being forced to come back to basics. And not. And people are starting to see this. I mean, they were things were good and they got used to it and they got comfortable. But now things are bad. Things are uncomfortable. So now they're noticing these things. Oh, my bill is twice what it was last month. That's not right. So the people are the solution. Okay, the people are the solution. That's what happened in the last election. People said, "Look, no more Trump," and that's what happened. So.
So how do you, Daniel again says, how do you feel about the bike lane down Fredericksburg and that bike lane will take away a car lane?
Well, bike lane is good. We just have to make it safe. Taking away a car lane, well, one bike, is a lot smaller than a car. So if people, single drivers do bikes, there's going to be a lot less traffic. So I think bikes are a good thing. Electric bikes are a good thing. There's 3-wheel bikes that are a good thing. There's electric cars that are a lot smaller. But I think, we should have maybe a dedicated lane for electrical vehicles, cars, so we've got to make it safe. So, so I'm for bicycling. Bicycling is good. It's good exercise. They've got electric bikes now. They're coming down in price. I've got a regular bike. My next bike is going to be an electric bike. So.
Yeah, and I seen down at the Pearl, they starting to rent out those Vespas with the sidecar on. I don't know if you've seen that. So they
I'll
made
go
a
check
big
it out.
they made a big deal out of it. I think it was at they I think it was a Pearl or no, they did it at the Market Square. They had like this big launch thing, and I don't know who's putting that on, but it was basically like the little Vespas and the sidecars. So you got two people in the little Vespas. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
interesting.
and
But I
they
mean,
don't go fast. They don't go fast, so they're pretty safe. Yeah.
But I know a lot of people were upset with the scooters, because people were just leaving them all over the place. But I don't know. I hopefully we can get something figured out to where it helps. I know they're still building that trail, along the whole city. I don't think it's connected quite yet, right? So it's not connected all the way, but it's a pretty big trail. I don't know if you've seen the trail that goes all the way
The
around the
Mission
city.
Trail all along
Well,
the
that
river.
one, that, and then the one that goes all the way north and all the way to 1604 and I-10 as well.
I haven't seen. Is that a bike trail?
Yeah. I was actually gonna post that. It was the full map. They haven't completed, I don't think, from Mission, or I don't know. I can't remember, but I'll have to bring that out. I was gonna post it today, but yeah, it was a cool little map to show where the bike lane goes through, and it goes all the way. I mean, it goes through the parks, but it's definitely something that I know a lot of people have been taking advantage of as far as like riding their bikes through that whole trail, because it's long. I don't know how many miles. It probably like 23 or I don't know. But yeah. So is there any other things that you want to talk about your campaign or cover before we wrap up?
Well, I think what distinguishes me from the other candidates and politics in general is my philosophy and my legal experience, and my idea of establishing District 1 as a legal aid office to help the individuals, having public defenders situated and proceeding to enforce the due process laws and the constitutional laws that are so important, that are being just trashed all over the place. So I think that's what I bring to the table: my legal expertise plus my independence. I refuse contributions from corporations or big businesses. I want to be for the individual, the individual homeowner, and that's where I'm going in District 1, for the individual homeowner. Thank you.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Laura, for coming on and just speaking about your platform, and just to let us get to know more about you. And how can people get a hold of you, volunteer if you're taking volunteers, or donate if you're taking donations?
No, I'm not taking donations. I'm taking volunteers. I mean, people are worth more than money, and money doesn't buy votes. People vote. People, vote. So.
Right. Actually, before we touch on that, I just want to ask you, what are your thoughts on possibly doing like a campaign contribution limit, like a total cap, like a total cap of amount that a candidate can raise, not per person, right? Not that somebody can donate up to $500 like how it is now, but how much a candidate can raise for their campaign in total. Would you be for something like that?
Well, I have another plan, and that would be to provide equal access to the candidates. In other words, if one candidate gets a minute on TV, then all the candidates should get a minute on TV.
Well, that's the thing that doesn't make sense. That should be illegal, right? To where you're only giving certain candidates airtime. According to the IRS, or actually I think is the FFC or FCC, you're not allowed to favor candidates, especially for a news agency. I know with the IRS for any nonprofits, they're not allowed to only favor some. You have to open it up for everybody, but that seems to not be happening around here.
Well, it needs to be enforced. Again, this is why you need legal aid. You need attorneys down in the city hall. You need, public defenders. You need to get an equitable system. People shouldn't be allowed to purchase elections. So they all the candidates should have equal access.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. What would you like to see? Hold on, let me bring this up. Would you like to see ranked choice voting introduced into our election system?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Would you like to see ranked choice voting put into our election system? Um, or have you heard of ranked choice voting?
No, what is it?
Okay, so basically, ranked choice voting. It's here on the screen. Here, let me bring this up. So for anybody who doesn't know, for ranked choice voting, basically every candidate, the person who's going to win still needs to hit that 51% threshold, right? Just like it is now. But the way it is right now, if the candidate, especially when you have a candidate that is running with multiple candidates, right? Especially like in D2 and D5 and D3, there's a lot of candidates. More than likely, there's not going to be a clear winner that has the 50+1. So then we have a runoff, right? Which the city has to pay, or the county has to pay. It costs us $8 to $10 million just to hold a runoff election. So what this would do, ranked choice voting, you would still only vote the one time, right? When election season comes, you vote the one time. You vote them in rank. So if your person is candidate E as your first person, you put them down. Then your second person, third, fourth, and fifth. Then you put them in. And if your first candidate doesn't make it through the first round and there's no clear winner of 51%, then you have another round. But this is done automatically. No, you don't have to go in and vote again. This is done automatically by the system itself. And then what happens is this process keeps happening, and the votes that you place for your second person get tallied up for the second round, and then so on and so forth until there is a clear winner. And what happens with this is you actually get to choose who you want when you're voting, right? So if you really want this person, but you're like, well, I know they have a lot of name recognition, which shouldn't be a thing, but it still is. Then you could feel more confident that your vote's not going to be wasted, because at least you would throw in your vote, and then your second person would be maybe the preferred candidate that you might think might win, but you would still vote for your person. So this would help, especially with candidates. It would help that way they are not fighting as much, because then as a candidate you would want to get somebody's second place vote, right? So it would help bring more people together in a sense like that. But also the biggest thing is we would not need to have a runoff election, because then this is called an instant runoff and would save our county $8 to $10 million at least. I don't know if it's gone even higher than that, but $8 to $10 million just to hold a runoff election that has minimal turnout. With this system, you would have an instant runoff, and it would be automatic, and we wouldn't have to keep voting constantly. So is this something that you would like to see done in the city?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to take a look at it and study it more. One thing I see right away is the learning curve.
Yeah.
Teaching the voter how to use that system. So,
but that's the thing though,
it's
too,
an
is
interesting system.
already,
Have they used that in other countries or other counties or cities?
So Australia's they've been doing it for years. The US has just started doing it in 2019. And New York actually just started implementing it for the presidential election last season, this past season. But there's other states too that are doing it. So they're trying it out. I mean, they're definitely trying
Yeah.
it out and see how it works. And I think that maybe, yeah, people are like, well, maybe it might not work everywhere. That's true, but
Mm.
obviously there's a lot of issues with the way our elections are going right now, and then not enough
Right.
volunteers and things like that.
Right.
But if you look at the learning curve, we had to do a learning curve with doing the new ballot system.
Mhm.
We have
Mhm.
to,
Yeah.
okay, you have to
That's
do it
right.
this
That's right.
way and do it this way. But I mean, there's always going to be a learning curve. But
Yeah.
if you look at right now, there's already people that are making multiple choices on the ballot as well already to begin with.
Mhm.
Granted,
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
you do that, your ballot is gone because we don't allow multiple,
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
votes. So, you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right. Right.
it's just one of those things that it's worth a look at. But I
Yeah.
always like to
Yeah.
bring it up because it's something different that I know people aren't talking about here in
Right.
San
Right.
Antonio. So
Right. It's worth the look at. It's definitely worth the look at. And I'd want to get all the data from the other
yeah,
cities and see what it looks like. Yeah. That's
definitely.
interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, so definitely okay, so how can people get a hold of you to
Okay.
help, volunteer or
Okay. You can give them my phone number. It's at 210-777-7755. And my email address is lb78213 @yahoo.com. I answer
oh,
all my calls and I return all my emails.
okay, you said it was 210-777-777-7755.
Yes.
Okay. And then your email was what?
lb78213 @yahoo.com.
I'm gonna put it up on the screen so that way y'all can see it, and then y'all can reach out to them and volunteer or ask them a question or whatever it is. But all right. Well, is there anything else that you want to touch on real quick before we finish?
Well, I just want to touch on the fact that my legal work, my legal experience has focused on the individual and helping the individual. And I'd like to have District 1 as my priority client. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. And the viewers that are watching as well, if you would like to donate to this live stream, my Cash App is down below. If you'd like to donate and help keep this going, I am doing this completely by myself. So it is a lot of work, but it's also needed because we need to find out more about these candidates from a standpoint that we're not already judging from the beginning or only selecting certain candidates to speak to, which I think is important to just be able to reach out to everyone and everyone have an equal say to it, whether you want to listen to it or not. So it's here. And again, if you'd like to donate to this live stream, please do. Or if you want to reach out to me, please do as well. If you are a candidate that I have not interviewed yet, please do so. I've reached out to everybody that I could on the information that I was given. So if you would still like to do an interview, please do and reach out to me. So, but thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. Thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for some more interviews tomorrow. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.